Got the new aerator. Plugs in here. Very quiet. This is completely waterproof. It's all piped in. Originally it came with a 50-foot. I miscalculated. You can see the bubbles out there. I had to order another 100-foot. So the 150-foot I have extra. So I've yet to figure out if I want to cut it or I'm just going to leave the excess here, because depending on how well the aerator works, you can see here I'm digging the ditch using the tractor just to bury this airline, so when I'm cutting the grass or doing whatever, it's not going to be a problem. You can see the aerator there, and this is going to obviously bring oxygen into the water for the fish. And then I have that kind of central, not exactly, but this is kind of a deeper area. I also added some more color dye yesterday. The first time I did it, I added way too much, so I did it much more sparingly this time. And then at the bottom of that diffuser, I have a rope to it, and then it's anchored here. So if I ever need to maintain or work on it, I can pull it in. Now, I could potentially tee off from that and add another one on this side, and I could utilize that extra spare hose. So that's why I want to let this run maybe a month, see what happens. But look how the air bubbles come out all the way around. That's just adding a lot of oxygen to the water, which should be really good for the the fish. So I'm continuing. Now another thing, I don't know if you noticed, we are in August and this is a drought season. The water level is usually all the way up to right here. So we are like 2 to 3 feet down, maybe even 4. It is fed by natural springs over here, but even the natural springs have really slowed down in the mountains. So the natural springs come off here and they come through here. I kind of blocked because behind the house, it used to run this way going down and then it came here. So I blocked off one side to try to really force whatever little does come. If you look, you can see a little bit trickling. So it's still better than nothing, but normally this would be, all of this would be in water. This would be a pretty steady flow. And at the end of the pond where those cattails are, we would have an overflow where it would continually be flowing through this, which also, you know, was creating a lot of oxygen. But right now, that's like, well, actually, let's take a walk back there and I'll show you just how low it is. So by me putting this aerator in, now I've heard and read that people actually can leave these in 365 days a year, even during the winter, obviously. That'll help the fish once this freezes over. Now, earlier in the spring, I took out a lot of these cattails. I still got to come in here, clean a little bit more of it up, just these loose parts here. I'm going to leave this side because the wood ducks and birds, which is weird, there's no ducks right now this time of year. I guess they're just seasonal, but nothing is coming right now. What you're gonna see over here is the drain off. Now, if you see this piece of wood, it usually is trickling over top of that. Now look how far down it is. So it's crazy low. Then it runs under here, comes out here, and all along here. It would go all the way down to the road. But it's just so low. We've had really virtually no rain. It's just not my pond. I mean, it's everywhere. It's almost worldwide, or in the United States, it's really been dry. So I'm gonna continue to dig this ditch. Well, buried down. Couple rains. Can't really tell. The funny thing is, you see how I put the corn here for the deer? The deer come in. We watch them out of our windows. I had a feeder here until a bear came. But this area, just from the feeder constantly putting corn, has created a cornfield. Now, obviously, they're planted too close to do anything, but look, that's a little piece of corn. So I'm just gonna let it go and see what it does, if anything. This was completely accidental, but I just think it's amazing how Mother Nature works like that. And this is sandy, so there was a beach sand here. There was a swimming pool here when we moved in 10 months ago, and we took it down and it was just sand. And then when I put the feeder here, it was a perfect spot, and it just constantly was corn there, and as we read, a sandy, dry soil is really good for this type of corn. And look at this.
We have some stalks, some actual cobs.
So it'll be interesting to see. Now, I did think about even pulling out like 80% so it has more, but I don't think at this point it's too late. Like whatever this has robbed from the soil, I'm assuming it's not going to change anything. Here's another one. That's so cool. But they still come every day. Now that the bear ripped down my feeder twice, I figured I'm just gonna throw some corn out here every night like clockwork. This is a mineral block. They really like that. And then the corn. Like I said, we could sit right there on the porch or in the living room, and every day they just come along. It's really cool in the winter when this freezes over. They just have huge paths coming through. I had 25 deer right here at one time in the dead of winter. Really awesome. Hey guys, I'm gonna take some of this stuff away. And see you next time. We continue to dig this ditch and get it closed off. And I'll give you guys an update in a couple weeks and let you know how it's working out for me. Till next time, I will see you then.